Today I want to talk about how I lay out my towns and how I want to do it in the future. Welcome to a new video on a single player world, and today I want to finish up the houses that we've planned out while talking about how I lay out these kind of projects and how I want to improve on that. How do I lay out these towns or villages? Most of the time I start out with some main roads. These are not always the widest and most central roads of your town, but almost always are they the ones that connect to a trade route. In my case, they will run like this, and then this one goes across. I try to have the streets determined by buildings. So once I have the main roads in, I start planning houses, and the spaces between these houses become extra alleys and squares, and those will connect back to the main road. The only thing that I have to have in my street layout is curves. Very few of my towns have a completely straight road in them. There's two good reasons for that. One is that it forces me to, build different shapes of houses. The second, and the more important reason, is that it restricts vision within the town. And it helps create this tight, bustling feeling that we often get when we think of a medieval town or city. One more thing that people forget when planning out a town is the skyline. In this case, I try to alternate the roof designs and chimney styles so that it's not too repetitive, but it still adds a bit more depth and unity to the town. The only thing that I'm missing in this example is some towers. Even small trading towns like these would have had some defensive structures around it. So I'll be adding those when we transition away from the center of the town. Alrighty then, let's get to it. And you might have noticed that I finished up all the houses already. The only thing that I have to do is add some more details and just, the basics. I do want to break up this flat wall with another one of those tarp overhangs. That way, this could be used as some sort of storage or even a market stall. While we were running around, I did notice that in some places I do want to adjust the roads a bit. I mostly want to widen the bottlenecks, and I think it's also a great time to add some slabs to the parts where people, well mostly me, are going to be walking. That's mostly so I don't need to keep jumping all the time. And with that, I think we can say that this part of town is pretty much finished. I'll probably keep tweaking things here and there, but I want to talk about expansion at this moment. We'll start out by extending the main roads outwards. As I mentioned before, we want these to connect to the trade route, so we'll add that in as well. You can immediately see that this is a lot more open and that there's a lot more space in between these roads than we had in the previous part of town. Mostly because we want to thin out the village the further we go away from the center, but also because I want to add something that I knew was a thing, but I've never really thought of adding it into a Minecraft build. You see, I've been playing a bit of Manor Lords recently, and the game reminded me of burgage plots. You see, burgage plots were very common in the Middle Ages, and it's practically a backyard that people used to, supply their own family. Historically, they were used as a little field to plant some goods or even keep some animals on it. And yeah, just supply your own little house or your own little community within the building. And if you have leftovers, you could sell those on the market. So these weren't the big rolling fields that we would think of when we think of medieval farms, but it's mostly like a small little plot for your own supply. And you know what? I like the idea of having some of these in the world. So if we think of this town in circles, you would have the center, which is all the houses for workers, tradesmen, merchants, and so on. You'd have your second circle, which is your burgage plots for the seasonal workers and their families. And outside in the third circle, we would have the bigger farms or huge rolling fields. This is what the plan looks like right about now. We can start out one of the houses that are attached to the burgage plots by using some strip logs for the frame and really use that two-tone style building to differentiate these from the other houses. These are meant to be built out of mud and wood and, whatever is not stone, because they're a bit cheaper. The roofs are going to be pretty standard, and sober, but again, these houses are meant to be a little less fancy than the other ones in the town center. There's not much to say about building these houses as they are, well, my go-to models. As for the burgage plot, I don't really have an idea of how I would do it, so let me try and figure it out off camera. And I think I like what I came up with. When we get multiple of these next to each other, it will probably look pretty cool. So let's try it out. Let's get 2 more of these ready to go. And that looks pretty cool. I like how this is shaping up. I do think that we've done plenty of work on the town today, so let me know what you think of these burgage plots in the comments. And I am going to take a little break now. See you next episode. Bye!